Wednesday morning. Hey, everybody, what's going on? This is Jeremy coming at you once again with Redtired Podcast. And guess who I found? I found him. He's done. He went and gone and got all South Carolina, but Jacob's here. He's here.
Yeah.
Good morning, Jacob.
Good morning. How are you doing, man? It's been a while.
It has. You've been through quite a transition.
Oh, dude. It was crazy. It was a headache. But we're here. We're safe. We're blessed with our new home. We love it. You know, we came here with open arms. The media was here. It was amazing. It was a blessing. But man, leaving Texas, I think Texas was pissed for me leaving. It wasn't one thing, it's another.
Yeah, you told me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So when I was moving, I grabbed my moving truck. Well, Alex flew off on the 3rd. I needed to be here on the 6th for the whole thing that was going on they had set up for me. So I was like, all right, it gives me a day to load up the truck or to clean in the apartment or last minute packing and then load up the truck and then get going. Right.
All right.
It was not that easy at all. First things first, when I went to go pick up the moving truck, I had to leave my wife's car there to drive the moving truck and the trailer back to my apartment. Then I was going to Uber back to where I got my truck, which was the local Home Depot, because I got Penske, to pick up my wife's car and drive it back home so we can both have both vehicles at the house, because I was going to load it up on the trailer. Well,
okay.
I had a flat tire on the way back.
Oh, yeah. What a great way to start the trip. Here we go. Hey, we're out of here.
Yeah.
Oh.
So flat tire, I was so upset, man. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to take it a discount tire. They said it was unrepairable because where the nail was. And I was like, all right, new tire, $150 right there. Gone.
Yeah.
And then I was like, perfect. Let's get out of the way. Well, I dropped it off because they were slammed. So, and I already had 2 people on the way to come help me. My buddy Landis from Fort Hood and my buddy James from Fort Worth. So
shout out.
Yeah. So they were both coming in to help me. And so they started coming in. I was like, all right, well, while the car is getting ready, and why don't we just go and grab some lunch? Let me buy you lunch because you're helping me load up the truck. Right. So they did. We enjoyed it. We had a good time. Well, it was time for us to move the truck to back it up to the garage. I can't find the keys to the moving truck. We looked everywhere, and I guess it fell out of my pocket at Discount Tire on the parking lot. And this guy said he was yelling at all his employees, thinking that his employees lost the key to one of their shippers. I was like, no, it was mine. Thank you, God. That took an hour delay looking for a key. And then I'm not done yet. Right?
Okay.
I have that gun safe.
Mm-hmm.
We were
big
stuck.
Gun safe. It's huge. It's probably a 30 gun safe.
Yeah, it's 800 pounds.
Yeah,
let's round up because it's 777 pounds. Let's round up to 800. Right?
It's a big boy.
Dude, we could not find a way how to get it up there. It was killing it. We killed 3 hours trying to figure out how to move it onto the moving truck.
Oh man,
dollies didn't work. It was just too heavy for 3 guys. And James Black, he's a big. We used to play football, big guy, right? Like lineman type. And we were like, man, we can't do this. And it started raining now, and the safe is stuck outside, and it's raining. And I'm like, so we're like, you know what? Forget it. Let's keep packing as much as we can until we'll leave a huge space on the side so we can slide the safe all the way to the back. So, it's in the middle. So weight, you've been around
weight distribution.
So you don't want it to crate everywhere. And then you don't want it in the middle of the truck, because then that thing hops around. It's going to destroy things. Mm-hmm. So we have to have it either towards the back to tie it down so it doesn't move.
Yep.
So it was just crazy, dude. It was insane. Luckily, one of my neighbors saw us, and he had a buddy coming in because they were going to do a practice session because they were in the band. Let me remind you, these guys are 50 years old and plus. Mm-hmm. And they're not the biggest guys either. And they're like, yeah, we're here to help. I'm like, all right, we'll try it one more time.
Handful of 130-pound vegans show up, and they're like, hey, we can do it.
Yeah. But God was looking down. We got the safe in. We had to lay it down because we could not lift it like old school, like fully up like a fridge. No, we had to lay it down. And that, man, it took a lot of engineering too, and like trying to figure out how this dude. I had to go to Home Depot buy 1,500-pound straps to get it all done, and we finally got it done. We finished up last minute packing, and I didn't have time to clean the apartment. That was gone already from wasted time. So God bless his soul. James Black was like, Jacob, don't worry about it. Lend me your keys. I'll close out the apartment for you. I'll clean up everything, dude. And I'll send y'all pictures. It was not pretty. We just left stuff behind. And I was like, man, God bless his soul. He cleaned it out like it looked like a brand new apartment when it was time for him. When him and his family went back, him, his wife, daughter, and son, they all cleaned out the whole apartment.
That's a friendship. That's
a
true
dude.
Friend right
my God. My wife and I still to this day, we're still trying to, speculate how to, not how to pay him back, dude. That was a big thing,
Yeah.
And also, it was my first time letting go of control too. Cause I was like, I'm used to turning in the keys and this and that. So letting go of that and having a dear friend like him to take care of it. Oh, dude, it was amazing.
Well, that's an amazing skill that you actually have to pick up through the leadership channels as you grow as a leader over time, where you'll kind of acknowledge, like, I gotta step back and trust somebody to do these things. And so it's a great lesson for every one of us to learn, is just like, dude, it's okay to delegate things from time to time. Don't beat yourself up over it. Let it happen and trust that the person that you're giving this task to is going to get it done. That's how you develop subordinates into, is it subordinates? Insubordinates. I always get that mixed up.
Your subordinates. Yeah.
But that's how you develop people into great leaders themselves, is you give them an opportunity to shine. And that's a great thing for somebody in a leadership role, especially. I want to point out one thing real quick for anybody who might be watching this on YouTube. South Carolina internet is weird. So Jacob is pixelated here right now. I don't understand it. It probably doesn't show up that well on his screen. It probably looks perfectly fine.
Yeah, I do. You look crisp, like you're 4K.
Yeah, well, me, yes, but your videos coming through kind of pixelated. We apologize for South Carolina internet. So continue your story, please, because there's more to it.
No, yeah. So, anyways, I was about to take off. We had to rush because we had to beat the storm that was coming in. You probably got a little bit where, the winter blast that hit Texas a few weeks ago.
A couple of days. Yeah. It was not fun.
Yeah. So I heard about it, and they're like, dude, you got to get out of here this night. You cannot wait until the morning or you're going to get stuck. Yeah. So I was like, damn, and I can't afford to get stuck because it's I'm still thinking like an idiot, like 12-hour drive. Yeah, sure. It was not 12 hours, by the way. No. The moving truck hauling a trailer.
No, that's a long drive.
Yeah. So it's 12 hours in a Mercedes by yourself, though. I did it in 12 hours. That's why I always thought it took 12 hours with a moving truck and a trailer. No.
Total different monster.
Yeah, it was governed at 65. I felt like I was in a different world. I don't know how people drive this slow. It was driving me nuts.
So when you got out of the state, though, you noticed that there's a swift change in speed limits as you leave Texas.
Oh, yeah. Going from 75, I think the max is Texas is 85, and it's now 65, 70. That's it.
Yeah.
It drops down. But before we left, dude, I'm not even done yet with Texas, handing me off to the other state. No, my buddy Landis followed me to the gas station. He was like, dude, you need to get your front tire checked out. It is low. And I'm like, oh, great. This cannot be it. The moving truck has a flat now. But luckily it wasn't. I guess whoever put the air or whoever got this truck ready didn't put air back in the tires or whatever, but it was below, like it was 10 below. It was supposed to be at 65 PSI.
Yeah. And it was 10 below that.
Yeah. So I was like, we put air in it, dude. I kept checking it every time I went and get gas. But that was Texas' last thing of like, all right, we're going to mess with you for a little bit before you leave our great state.
Yeah. What's up, Penske?
My first stop was Louisiana. I did not want to stop until I got out of Texas. I slept at a rest stop for like 3-4 hours, took a 3-hour nap or whatever. Then I just kept going. And man, it was a crazy, horrible drive.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Texans, there is a Whataburger in Alabama off of Highway 20.
Well, Whataburger's they're pretty expanded. I mean that takes your New Year's resolution and throws it right out the window. But
No, I didn't stop there. I saw the sign.
Oh, you just saw the sign. You didn't eat it.
Yeah, no,
Oh, okay.
I made sure I stopped at Subways though to eat. Matter of fact, I only ate once, and Jeremy, I felt so weak when I got there because I was just so caught up in trying to get here safely.
Yeah.
It rained the whole time from Texas till I got into Mount Pleasant, where the rain stopped. It was insane.
Yeah, that's the worst part of it. It's almost like the storm followed you, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, you're gonna leave, huh? Oh, you're leaving. Oh, you're leaving.
Yeah.
Okay. Watch this. Poof. Follow it.
But yeah, it's beautiful here. We met our neighbors already. It's great being by the beach. You know where David lives at. Our friend David. He lives 3 hours away from me. He's 20 degrees below with temperature.
Really?
So like, if it's 75 here, it's 40 something there. He lives up in the mountains, though.
Well, that's depressing. But yet, well, actually, not the part of living in the mountains. I'd be all for living in the mountains, but beyond that, like the negative threshold of the temperature, like, oh yeah, what's it like there? 75? Oh, it's 40 here. Well, that sucks. I don't know how to help you. Maybe move again, but who wants to do that? Because he just got in there.
So no, it was horrible. Texas, I'm sorry for leaving you, but don't take it personal. I'm not taking it personal either. You're leaving. I know you're upset that a good Texan was leaving, but
you'll be back. It's not that big of a deal. You will. I mean, like, who wants to stay in South Carolina all their lives, really?
I don't know. My wife is like leaning towards it. She loves this area.
Give it time. It is a nice area that you're in. I'll vouch for that based on some of the pictures I've seen. You know, she's posted some really cool stuff on Facebook. You're right next to the coast. There's it's an interesting looking place, and I'm sure here soon.
Right, we're the youngest here. There's a lot of retirees.
Yeah.
So that means it's quiet.
And I'm sure we'll come and visit out there and see what everything's all about. But at the same time, it's not Texas. It's just not Texas. Now, have you looked into the taxes on owning your own property there in South Carolina for a disabled
Not yet, dude. We're still, if you look in the background, we're still unpacking. We're still trying to get everything done. Yeah, we let go of a lot of things. That was one thing we did. You know, I had to sell the safe. It was impossible to get it up here.
Yeah.
We had to sell our deep freezer. We had to sell and let go of a lot of things.
Yeah, there's some downsides to living on the second floor. That's for sure.
Yeah, and it wasn't a problem of bringing the safe up here. It was a problem with the stairs breaking.
Oh, they're wood stairs?
No, they were concrete slab though. But either way, if that 800-pound safe just even tabs it, it's gonna crumble.
Yeah, you'd almost have to hire a professional moving company to get that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we did. I did, and they couldn't even do it.
They couldn't do it. So
yeah, they didn't want to take the liability for it.
But you can always just downgrade, get a couple of gun cabinets.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking next.
That's what all I own is a gun cabinet. I didn't need the giant 800-pound safe. I'm just like, it'd be nice to have, but where am I going to put it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm glad you made it.
Your bat cave, your berry cave.
Nope, because that would take up a very, very important space. Podcasting. Excuse me, podcasting space. Sorry, I had a little burp built up there. I was like, yeah. So I'm glad you're safe and you made it there safe, and I'm glad that you're back up and running, even if your internet does kind of suck right now.
Dude, I have 1 gig.
And it's not working.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a speed test, and
you can do a speed test all you want to. I'm telling you, Zoom is crushing your video. It'll be all right. We're gonna survive. I'll see if I can't upscale it. We don't know. We'll figure something out. Something's gonna work here. So, any other points that you want to make from your trip?
No, but I would like to say this though. I would like again to thank Military Warrior Support Foundation for this opportunity, and it will not go to waste. We are blessed. I would like to also thank Leroy Cisco, the guy who is the CEO and founder of Military Warrior Support Foundation. Matter of fact, listeners, I wrote President Trump last night on my email. Didn't ask for anything in return. I asked him to either call or leave a letter or something to Leroy Cisco for everything that he's done on helping other veterans and stuff like that. So I kind of basically recommended Leroy Cisco for like at least an accommodation or something. We'll see how far that goes. But I did get an email back this morning saying that the correspondent team did receive it.
Yeah. Well, it could be a while. He was doing laps yesterday at the Daytona 500.
Yeah.
Or was it yesterday? Maybe it was Saturday. I don't know when they hold these things. I
haven't kept up with the news or anything or what's going on here. So
you're in luck because I have. So I guess that's us segueing into the news.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Seriously.
All right. So check this out. The Virginia House approved a bill to join the national popular vote, bypassing the Electoral College. This is just plain stupid. But before I break this down, let me go ahead and read a little bit out of this. Is sourced from the Washington Times. I actually like the Washington Times. They don't have a whole lot of spin, which is really rare in the media. Some people kind of call it like a right-leaning outlet. Whatever. You can call it what you want to. The Virginia House of Delegates passed Tuesday a bill to award its electoral votes to the winner of the national popular vote as newly elected Democratic majority sought to join the pact to leapfrog the Electoral College. The state house voted 51-46 to enter into the national popular vote interstate compact, sending HB 177 to the state Senate despite opposition from Republicans who argued that the measure would upend the intent of the frame. The Electoral College is part of the quaint thing that we used to call in civics class checks and balances, said Delegate Arlie Ware. Arlie Ware, that's a funny name. Arlie Ware. Kind of like Arlie Ermy, but his last name is just W-A-R-E. Strange name. He's a Republican on the House floor. He says, I hope you stick with the checks and balances and not go along with HB 177. Democratic Delegate Mark Levin, Democratic Delegate Mark Levin was one of the bill's two sponsors, along with Delegate Marcia Cha Price. I don't know how she pronounces this nickname. It's CIA. Maybe Chia? Who cares? Delegate Marcia Chia Price argued that the Electoral College was a throwback that began at a time when the founders actually didn't think that there would be political parties. Really? Did you hear that? Are you hearing me so far? She didn't think, oh, yeah, they didn't think there would be political. Are you kidding me? Are you that stupid, Marcia? You must be stupid, because you have to recognize that there was, within the founding fathers, there were Christians, there were atheists, there were also, there was all sorts of different background people, and they all had different ideologies and different perspectives. I know it's hard to read history books, but you might try it sometime. Idiot. Okay. She says they thought that a bunch of white men with property would get into a room in the back and they would decide who the president was. Mr. Levin said, Levin said this. Poor writing. Come on. Levin said during Monday's floor debate, it even had the infamous 3/5 clause, which meant that more people were enslaved, the more slave owners had representation. So what they're trying to attribute to this so far is, well, if you're for the Electoral College, then you've got roots to racism, which is it's a very loose way to call names or say, ha, you're racist or whatever. That's the typical left tactic, which is kind of a stupid tactic, by the way, because name calling doesn't actually work, and most people are getting sick of it. If the bill is signed into law, Democratic Governor Ralph Northam, Virginia, would join 15 states and the District of Columbia in the agreement to have their electors cast the ballots in the presidential candidate for whoever gains the most votes nationwide instead of the statewide winner. Okay, so let's point out real quick here why this is a big deal. First of all, what they think that they're doing, they being Democrats, what Democrats think that they're doing is they think that they're trying to fix the situation. Okay, so you go back and you look at the 2016 election. They're like, well, we got the popular vote, but we still lost. That's not fair. Isn't it? Or because we've had Democrats and Republicans back. It's almost back to back. It's almost a revolving door. It's always Democrat, then a Republican, then a Democrat, then a Republican, because people generally get sick of all their crap. So this time around, the door swung the other way, and we've got a Republican in the presidential office. Here's where the problem comes into play. You're being very short-sighted. What you're seeing, this is you Democrats, I'm talking to the Democrats here. You're being extremely short-sighted. What you're seeing right now is, well, we couldn't win 2016 utilizing the Electoral College because blah, 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 reasons. Forget the fact that Hillary just completely ignored all the flyover states. We don't want to talk about that. No, what we want to do is instead say, well, she was the popular candidate. Therefore, we need to give all of our electoral votes from this point forward to all of the popular candidates. Here's where this backfires on you big time. Because you're students of idiocy and you forget to look back at history and actually pay attention to the things that have happened over history, you are doomed to repeat history. Now, go back to, Jacob, let's say 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. California was largely Republican. Mm-hmm. In fact, it was President Ronald Reagan who used to be the governor of California, right? Mm-hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then you've got Arnold Schwarzenegger was a Republican who was elected in a Democratic state in California. So you got to take all these, and that was just a popularity contest more than anything. But you got to take this into context and take some consideration here. If you have a system where all of our votes, all of the Electoral College, you're basically, we're just done. Not going to do the Electoral College anymore. What's the effect? See, this is where Democrats always lose their mind. They forget about the effect of the choice. There's always cause and there's always effect. It's a universal law. You can't get around it. So, cause, we lost the election. Effect, we're going to change the rules, which is going to lead to what? Another cause or another effect, rather. It's going to lead to another effect. So now you have this scenario where 15 different states are saying, well, we're just not going to play by the rules. We're going to do things this way. Well, guess what? You got to consider the numbers. How many Republicans are there out there right now who just don't vote because, my vote doesn't count? California is full of them. So you take that into consideration. What you're actually doing, you stupid people, you are pushing the opposition to come out and vote in 2020. Maybe not. It's going to be one of those situations where Trump wins by a landslide. I don't know, but you don't have a candidate to stand on at this point. And to push further, to have these states just give away their electoral votes to the popular vote is going to drive the Republicans out. Mm-hmm. What do you think about all this?
Well, if that happens in South Carolina, Democrats are definitely going to lose. Texas too. All those blue state cities they live in will slowly start turning red.
Northern Virginia is. I mean, they're gonna actually finally find a way to outnumber themselves. So, because all the things that are happening right now in Virginia are because of the small areas, the small pocket up there in North Virginia where a good chunk of Democrats exist. The rest of the state is not primarily Democrat. Mm-hmm. So you take this concept, you're going to start pushing voters out in masses. Last election, we had not 100% on the numbers, but it was somewhere to the tune of 65 million voted Republican and 65.5 to 66 million voted Democrat. Take those numbers into account. Add them together. We got 130 million voters. How many people didn't show up to vote?
Yeah, there's a lot more than that.
Because we got 330 million people in the United States, and then factor out, of course, children or whatever, what the actual adult legal number for adults and people who are legally allowed to vote, because some people aren't.
Yeah, criminals.
Criminals and whatnot, which is probably why Democrats push so hard for all of this. We need to, open the borders and blah, 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 and all that crap. But consider all those numbers, all those people that don't turn out, especially in like a state like California. Republicans just don't turn out in California because it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. You're pushing them to turn out. You're setting up. It's like, do you ever see that meme where the kid's riding a bicycle and he sticks a stick in the spokes of the bicycle and then he flips over the bicycle? Mm-hmm. So that's exactly what they're doing right now. Democrats are riding the bicycle. They're going to take this stick, they're going to stick it in the spokes, and then they're going to lose the next election or the next 2 elections or the next 5 elections or whatever, because people are going to start turning out knowing these new rules. And what are they going to do while they're sitting there holding their knee and whining and complaining about how much it hurts? They're going to blame the Republicans.
Yep.
Now, I'm an independent voter, and I know that there's Democrats out there that exist that aren't so off the wall insane, because you can look at it. There's another news piece that was released, I think it was just today, where they were talking about the assault weapons ban that was supposed to take place in Virginia. 4 Democrats voted against the assault weapons ban, and it failed. That means it didn't make it to Governor Northam's desk. That means they're going to try again next year. But there are sane Democrats out there who aren't looking at this like this woke, weird culture and trying to run on some kind of a strange platform.
Like, what's crazy too is that what I'm like, they will definitely need to start passing bills if they need to pass bills more frequently when it comes to redistricting. That's how the only way they will stay in office is keep changing their districts.
Yeah, well, so with the census, don't we have a census coming up? When's the next census? I'm going to check that out real quick, because when we have a census, part of the purpose of the census is to do just that, is to start working on redistricts or is it redistricting? Is that the word?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. When they start changing their districts to guarantee their win, they'll make sure that their district covers urban areas, not urban, but HUD homes. They do their science to see who votes for them, and then from there they readjust their district to go. That's how most of these politicians stay in office.
Yeah, because of all the census. So I think we have one this year. So the next census in 2020 will require. See, this is sourced from census.gov. So I'll keep this. That way we can post it later down there, wherever Mike keeps yelling at me about. You're welcome, Mike. The next census in 2020 will require counting increasingly diverse and growing population around the 330 million people in more than 140 million housing units. To get an accurate count, the Census Bureau must build an accurate address list of every housing unit, maximize self-response to the census, and effectively following up with those who do not respond. So 2020. That's right, because they were throwing a big old fit about whether or not they were going to talk about legal status on the census. I forgot about that. So we have a census coming up, and it is an election year, so should be fun.
Yeah, the census, it's going to tell us, the whole popular vote thing. That's not going to. Now, the popular vote, the bill, did you read it? Is it for federal elections only or state elections?
No, this the one that I was just citing was from Virginia, but there's a coalition of sorts.
So I mean, like for the state of Virginia, so it's only their local politicians.
No,
for the federal election, for the presidential
it's for
election.
the federal election. Yeah, that's the intent, because which is weird, because if you really think about all this stuff, like you think that what you're doing is you're winning the presidency, right?
Yep.
And so many people forget about all the checks and balances that actually do exist with at the congressional level. And you've got, of course, the Supreme Court. There's so many different facets to all this that they're not thinking. They're just like, oh, we got to get the White House. We got to win the White House. But they don't think about all the other stuff, like, oh, I don't know, how about Congress? How about all your Senate seats? What about all that? Like you're just so focused on this one facet, right? This is like a giant game of chess, and Democrats are like, well, it's okay because we got the queen. Queen can go anywhere. Yes, idiots. I have a queen too. Think about all this stuff. I know that's a terrible comparison, but deep breath.
Well, deep breath. We'll see how far these people that made this bill possible stay in office. We'll see how long they are.
It's like an Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez thing. I think it's just a flash in the pan. She's probably not going to be reelected because the people.
Oh, dude, you know how many people are standing up against her and her party alone?
Not off the top of my head, but
supposedly 9 or 10 are signing up to go against her for the primaries.
Yeah. Last I counted, it was 11.
Yeah.
You're talking about people that were trying to challenge her seat.
Yep.
Yeah, there's one of them that used to be a reporter for CNBC, and she's got like actual real world experience. She's been around the world. She's been in combat zones reporting on all that stuff. Like, she actually knows what's going on in the world. So I think that she'd be and she's a Democrat. And obviously, because you can't get elected as a Republican in New York in 2020. But
yep.
All right. So let's move on from all the political stuff, because let's be honest, nobody really cares that much about politics. We already know how we're going to vote. We already know what we're looking at. It's 2020 election year. It's exciting, blah, blah, blah. So one of the things I wanted to talk about, actually, I've been meditating a lot lately, and really it's for my own kind of well-being, psychological well-being, kind of demeanor, just trying to develop a calmer attitude, a calmer demeanor, and just be a little more pleasant, if you will. So I had a little experience yesterday in church that I wanted to talk about. I told you briefly about this before the podcast. So yesterday, I wake up early in the morning most days to try to meditate, because that's when all the crazy stuff is not going on in the house. It's quiet. Everybody's still asleep. The kids they're dead to the world at that point. They're just knocked out, and I can get some peace and quiet. And so what I've been doing is I've been going to YouTube and looking up different videos for meditation. There's different apps and things like that you can use to do this, but in my estimation, I don't really want to pay an annual fee to a company to be able to stream a couple of pieces of audio when it's on YouTube for free. So it's kind of like let's use our head and be wise with our budget. But anyway, so I've been meditating pretty heavily in the morning, and just kind of bringing myself back to a sense of awareness. So I've actually been going through a lot of stuff this whole week. I've been in brain fog because of my diet change. It's been ridiculous. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But so I got up yesterday morning, and I went in and sat in the kitchen dining room area in one of those little faux leather chairs we've got, cheap little chairs we picked up at like Big Lots or something. The cats are scratched all up, but they still look all right.
They're all right.
But it's comfortable there, because I can sit there and just I could sit in a cross-legged position. They're big enough for somebody like me to be able to do that. So I sit there and I start meditating and doing my thing. And sure enough, man, I had kind of a revelation. I was dealing with some stuff. My father was adopted. It's a real messy situation. He was adopted, but he was adopted in the family to basically his great aunt. But then I didn't know anything about dad's side, like his father's side, my grandfather. I know who my grandmother is, but it just sparked a lot of curiosity. And so I started working on the genealogy and trying to trace this down, looking at census information from the past 60 years and asking certain people questions. And it just seemed like the more I dug, the less I liked the information. So the more I found out, it was just like, I'm starting to think that this guy is a real prick. Okay. So obviously nobody knows what happened to him or where he went or whatever the hell. And I don't even know what his actual name is. I think I know, but I don't really know. Well, anyways, so during my meditation period, I'm thinking about this, and I'm like, this thing, like this family thing, it's consuming me. And I think it's starting to affect who I want to be. And it's starting to affect me as a person. I don't really like that. So it was a small revelation moment. So then a couple of hours later, we're in church, and pastor's going through all of his notes, and he cites the scripture out of Titus. It's Titus 3:9. And and I could read the whole thing, but I'm not going to bore you to death. The only part that really stood out to me was this in Titus 3:9. It said, "But avoid foolish controversies and genealogies and strife and disputes about the law, for they're unprofitable and worthless." And that was a moment of confirmation. Like, if you don't believe in God, hey, that's fine. You can think whatever you want to think. But to me, this was one of those moments where hey, dummy, look, hey, look, hey, look, hey, trying to show you something, and there's that confirmation. And so as we're going along and you're going through the notes, something else caught my eye. This is an external focus that I'm looking at. This is something that doesn't change who I am. It's something that doesn't affect me as a person, but I'm allowing it to be an external focus that takes so much of my attention away from things that deserve my attention, like my family, like spending time with my kids. Like, there's just little, like, simple things like that. I can't do it because it's making me angry because I don't know who I am or where I came from or all that stuff. And yeah, you can do the DNA tests, but
yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, but who, like, do you really want? I don't know that I trust 23andMe with my DNA stuff, anyways, because they're selling that stuff to the government. That's a different story. So
I did Ancestry.
Did you? Well, and I think they're all doing the same thing. And what's funny is Ancestry.com is actually based off of the Church of Latter-day Saints website, because they do a lot of the genealogy stuff too. Food for thought. There you go. You can do it all for free on the Latter-day Saints website. But so the next point that the pastor came across was, so I was talking about this external focus thing, this thing that was messing with my head, right? So another thing that he said was externally focused people usually are usually proud and arrogant. And I thought, wait a minute, I don't know that I think of myself as proud. And well, maybe I need to dive deeper into that. And I don't know that proud or arrogant is an issue that I deal with. Maybe it is something. If it is, that's something I'll just have to meditate on deeper. But the last point that caught my attention big time, this was, he said, externally focused people are usually angry. And I went, oh yeah, that could be me big time. Because I literally just told you, part of not knowing who I am makes me angry. Mm-hmm. And so there was this, it's hard to describe, but when you have those revelation moments where you're just like, ooh, that's me. I'm focused on all this other stuff. And you know what? So like I might not know who my grandfather, my great grandfather, or whatever, who they are, or what they're really about. What does it benefit me to really know that?
Or vanity.
It's a selfish endeavor.
Yep.
I want to know more about myself. And all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? I've been digging so far into my past that I'm forgetting about my future. I haven't been paying attention to my kids or my family nearly as much because I'm so consumed with wanting to know who I am. And this is something I want to encourage, like, anybody listening to this, is you already know who you are. You know exactly who you are and know where you're going. So what? We always look at this thing like, well, where have we been? Where were we? Why does any of that matter? When we should be focused on more internal things. Where are we going? Not where we've been. We know where we've been. That doesn't do any good for us. It just keeps us focused on things that used to be. And what we're trying to do, especially with things like this podcast, is we're trying to go out and produce a future. Damn the past. The past doesn't mean anything. Yeah, there's bad things that happen to everybody. And people have this real bad propensity to kind of live in the past when something bad happens to them. And what does that do? Well, it causes them to lose focus of where they're going and what they're doing. And I was doing the exact same thing. So there's your confession moment for the day. I'm going to take more time out of my life to meditate further on things, deeper things, to focus more on where I'm going, what I'm doing. And I'm going to take the time to do, it's not confessions. What's the word where you speak things over yourself? I forget what they're called. But you speak things over yourself that you want to be true. and those things become truth in your subconscious mind. Well, by the time that they're true in your subconscious mind, then nothing can stop you.
Yeah, I get what you're saying there, because like, I'm trying to work on being better and self-development when it comes to anger, and not just anger, but holding on to grudges, and holding that anger. And I recently watched Mr. Rogers, and it really made me focused on myself and anger.
The Tom
And
Hanks movie, not Mr.
yeah,
Rogers on
Mr.
the regular.
Rogers, but Won't You Be My Neighbor is the name of the,
There you go.
or Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. There you go. But yeah, it's just he sparked on a lot of things, and one of them was, he did this silent thing on taking a moment of silence to really think about, what made you, who took effect of just, when it comes to love and everything else like that. And I was like, oh wow, that's great. And it's funny is like, even the people that you're angry about, or even situations itself, it's all developed into your character,
Mm-hmm.
and it's up to me now to just kind of let go of a lot of things.
And it's difficult to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because we harbor so hard. Like you've told me time and time again about how you grew up, you were basically allowed to do whatever you wanted to do, go running around in the streets and whatnot. And fine, but was it really? Because there are certain things that you may feel like you got robbed of because you didn't have the same I don't know, maybe level of discipline, or maybe there's some kind of like anger towards your dad, or I don't know how it made you
No,
feel or
yeah,
whatever.
you're right. Yeah, no, I am. And there's times that, I wish I took the opportunity to find him and talk to him, and now I never have that chance because I'm just so angry. You
Yeah.
know.
Did your biological father pass away?
Oh yeah, a while back now. It's been
Okay.
while I was still serving.
So under that understanding, it almost like, do you ever feel, and this is just me
Even him passing
probing.
away. I just want to get
That's
off
all
my
right. Go
chest.
ahead.
Even him passing away, I was angry about that, and it wasn't the point of. Um, I was very selfish. I was very angry during this
Mhm.
point of my life, and I was angry because he passed away, and I didn't really get to get a lot of off of my chest. But to me, it was a nuisance. Like, it was in my way of my life, of my selfishness. Like, I was always worried about, only a few things in life at that moment. And people were coming to me to asking me for money to fly him back home, or his corpse, or whatever you want to call it. And I was like, no.
Oh yeah, you told me about this.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not going to do that. Hell no.
Yeah.
And to this day, I kind of regret some of the things, because I should never been that selfish. It wasn't the people that were asking for help. It wasn't their fault.
Right.
So I don't know.
But at the
But
same
yes,
time,
I
this is
understand
something that
everything
you
that
can
you're.
let go and move forward with if you change your focus. And this is something that you could meditate on. That might be something that you need to focus on for a moment, and to
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge, like, okay, yeah, this guy, dad, if you will, this guy was, he might have been my father, but was he your dad?
Mm-hmm.
And if so, then you can find joy for the good things, the good parts of life that you did pick up on, that you guys did celebrate with, and what have you. But at the same time, holding on to any of the negative stuff, it's just going to hinder you from being the best dad that you can be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where you're at right now. Is it's like, okay, no, you know what, whatever. I didn't maybe I didn't learn how to be dad from that guy, but I have to stop, and I have to go, like, my son needs me now, so I need to change something, whether it be just understanding, like, this is not how men do life. It's not how a real man behaves. And acknowledging that and accepting that, and just saying, well, this is part of you. Because one of the things we talked about before the podcast was, you have to give credit where credit is due if you're going to blame people for all of the negative that they did in your life. And I'll bleep that out, sorry.
No, yeah.
You
Um.
cited that from a different source. I don't
Mm-hmm.
remember what it was.
No, it was from a Netflix series I've been watching
Oh yeah,
too.
that's right.
Yeah, The Messiah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'm not saying it. I'm take it how you want. It's a TV show, it's a source of entertainment, but there's things I took out of it, and how, when it comes to sin and just making choices in life, and being angry is a choice.
Yeah, it is. There's nothing wrong with feeling anger, but living in it is what makes it sinful.
Mm-hmm.
And we should probably help people understand something here. Sin, like if you can look at the biblical definition of sin, and you could be like, well, that's just something that separates you from God. And that's fine. You can use that definition, but there's also another sin, another definition of sin, and that's where anything that you're doing that's hindering you from growing yourself as an individual, something that makes you better or something that makes you worse. So if it makes you worse and it's something that you can consciously control, then you're essentially sinning against yourself. You're holding yourself back.
No, yep.
So bearing those things in mind, because one of the things that, there's probably some stuff I'll talk about later on down the road where, I wasn't totally happy with the way that I was raised. I don't know many people who were. Parents make mistakes. That's part of the process. But a lot of people find their identity in allowing a victimization because their parents made mistakes. Mm-hmm. And that's totally, that's a sinful, prideful thing, is to live and stay in that.
Because I think it's selfish too.
It is absolutely selfish. You're right.
It's funny though, Jeremy, because we're older and all that, and there's times I wish I knew this in high school. I think I would have been happier.
Honestly, I think I'm in the same boat. I don't know when I figured it out for sure. That I gotta not be so selfish or not put myself first, or even being able to recognize that I was putting myself first. And that's kind of the funny thing here. This is why I brought up the idea of meditation, is because meditation is a process where you become essentially aware. So it's not like, don't compare it to like the woke leftists where like, I'm so woke, I know everything, blah, blah, blah. It's nothing like that. So meditation becomes more about an understanding of being self-aware of yourself, your body, your consciousness. And it seems at its core, like this is some hippy dippy crap. I'm like, this doesn't, like, why am I doing this? Is stupid. But as you follow along with the meditation, you start to understand, you follow the instructions, and it becomes more clear that what the person that's coaching you through the meditation process is actually trying to do is make you aware of the things that you're not paying attention to. For example, your physical body. All right. One of the meditations that I was using today was talking about the health and wellness and the physical abilities within your body. And that wellness and that physical awareness, it's tied really to how you feel. And so you're in essence, you're going into your mind and being fully aware, trying to understand exactly how your body feels at any given moment. And then you focus on different parts. Maybe it's your breathing, right? Breathing is a big deal. And so when you're breathing, one of the things they tell you is you can feel your rib cage and your stomach expand and then retract. Well, why am I trying to become aware of the expansion and retraction of my rib cage? Well, because I need to be grateful for it, for one. Mm-hmm. I need to be thankful that my body is functioning the way that God designed it. Or if you want to go along with the theory of evolution, I don't think that they're, opposed to one another. That's a podcast for another time. But if you want to go along with the theory of evolution, yeah, we evolved to a certain degree to utilize certain things and to behave in certain ways in our body. One of the things that we do is our rib cage expands and retracts with our lungs. And that's muscular and skeletal. And, there's so much stuff that's going on there that's just keeping you alive. And just being alive for the day, just being able to wake up with full use of arms, legs, fingers, toes, eyes, your olfactory senses, all these things. Like I should be very grateful for the fact that I can still grow a beard because my hairline is going so far back down my back that, but I can, but like, so I can counterset the two. I can grow a beard because I can't grow hair. So, all right, well, you know what? I didn't get handed the worst deck. I need to be grateful for this. I need to be thankful for this. And it starts with being aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's meditation.
And you realize a whole lot of things. Now, you talked about your diet earlier, and I would like to end this on the podcast on this is
sure.
How did it affect you mentally, and why did you change your diet?
Okay. So first things first, I was told a while back that I had gout. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's basically just a bunch of crystals. It's called uric acid in the bloodstream, and crystals form around certain joints. And when it flares up, it's extremely painful, which is true. And I attributed some of that to, the poor American diet. And so I'm like, well, okay, what do I got to do to fix it? So I go to the doctor and talk to a nutritionist, and I'm like, I'm going to take responsibility for this. This is my fault. It's my body, blah, blah, blah. So they tell me, all right, we need you to get onto a very low fat, very high carb and moderate protein diet. So I'm monitoring what I'm eating. I'm coming in under my calorie count, I'm exercising. I'm doing all the things that are right. Everything that they told me to do, eating lots and lots of vegetables, lots of greens, never touching a steak, lots of lean meats, decent fatty acids, taking my vitamins, taking my medicine, doing all this stuff that they want me to do. Okay. Now their understanding of diet is very limited because there's actually very little education that a doctor is required to understand for nutrition. I didn't know that. So a lot of the stuff that they may have had me doing could have been based off like the food pyramid, for example. And so I started learning about, caloric deficit, not deficits, but basically the how deep like certain foods carry calories. So you can eat, say for example, a handful of pasta, and that might be like 600 or 700 calories, whereas 600 or 700 calories worth of salad, like good luck. That's a lot of salad. Okay. I can do it. I'm a bigger guy, but whatever. Anyway, said all that to tell you this. I go back to the doctor, get my blood drawn again. They're going to check it out and see how successful it's been. And my uric acid numbers actually went up. All right. I'm following the diet. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not eating any excess sugars whatsoever. Like I'm not touching desserts, ice creams, none of that crap. I'm not eating processed foods, no potato chips. It's all real food, lean meats, good quality stuff. And nothing changed. In fact, the numbers went up. And so I went, you know what? I got another readout coming up. I'm going to try something radical. And I started reading up on the carnivore diet. The carnivore diet is essentially all meat, high fat. You don't eat anything except for the meats and the fats. There's like no carbs are allowed. So you're not eating any carbohydrates whatsoever.
Now, when you say meat, is it just red meat or is it chicken, turkey?
So as long as it's not processed, and you can look at the ingredients, and the ingredients says like chicken, for example, ingredients, chicken. Whereas it's very limited. So salt and pepper, I'll eat that. I'm allowed to have hot sauce because there's no carbs in hot sauce. I mean, well, there is, but you'd have to drink the bottle to get them.
Yeah.
So yeah. I'm eating.
It takes a while to get through a bottle.
Yeah, it does. And so I'm eating a lot of chicken, a lot of red meats like beef. And I started this last Tuesday.
For a bison.
Yeah, you know what? I've been eyeballing it lately. I have. I'm not gonna lie. You do have to eat some organ meats, which now that my body is
and stuff.
Yeah, things like that. And I don't have a problem with liver. A lot of people do. I don't care. So there's a process in adapting to all of this. So like for the last week, I've been miserable. I've been like having brain fog and can't think straight and little.
Oh yeah, because your body's adjusting. Yeah. Now, one thing I want to tell the listeners that doesn't mean go out and eat a burger every day. You do have to cook it right, correct? Like grill it to make sure some of the stuff drips down, or are you going all out fatty style?
So I've cooked it several different ways. So you don't want to lose a lot of the fat, because one of the mistakes that a lot of people make is they don't get enough fat. And of course, this is something you should talk to your doctor before you do. And your doctor is going to tell you you're crazy.
Yeah.
My doctor is going to tell me that I'm insane, but if my numbers come back better, then I'll tell them what I've been doing. And if my numbers come back worse, then I'll just go right back to eating the other way. It doesn't matter to me either way, but there's been some benefits. So to date, now that my mind is clear, like I'm focused, I'm hyper-focused, I'm reading things, I'm understanding things at a deeper level. And that's a huge plus, because of course everybody's like, well, cholesterol is bad for you and blah, blah, blah. Dude, your brain is like 80% cholesterol. Seriously. That's like no joke. You can look that up. But the other thing is I don't eat nearly as much because I'm very satiated, right? So for my breakfast, I'm going to call it was lunch. All I had was hamburger meat. And so I just formed 3 little 6-ounce patties, had 18 ounces worth of hamburger meat, and that was it. Salt and pepper, nothing else. Okay. I'm very, I'm highly functioning. I'm highly aware. I'm almost hyper aware at this point. I'm just picking up on things a lot better than I did. One of the problems that you'll run into is your body will start to flush salts out. It's like a natural defense mechanism when you're going into starvation mode. And so it pushes liquids out of your body because it's flushing all those salts. And so I had this really intense craving for pickle juice the last couple of days. And so I just sit there and sip pickle juice, and it helps.
I can't do that.
Oh, I do. Go carnivore. You will.
Yeah.
And and now here's the other thing. Because your body flushes all this weight out, you'll almost immediately start dropping water weight, which it's not fat, it's water. But your body, as it adapts, it becomes used to living off of just the fat. And so it's no longer using carbohydrates and refined sugars and things like that for energy. It's now using fat for energy. So it's much more difficult to actually store fat when you're not eating enough fat to utilize for storage. And that's all that, overweight, obesity, the fat that's in your body, all that's just stored energy. It's kind of crazy to think about, but if you're 100 pounds overweight, it's because you're not doing anything, because you're eating way too much. You're drinking way too many sodas. And look, I'm not opposed to having a cherry Coke once in a while. I like them. I just can't drink them all the time. It makes me nauseous. Same thing for donuts, refined sugars. I'll eat one once in a while. No big deal. But I can't do it all the time. It'll make me sick.
Yeah.
Any other questions about it?
No, that was it, man. And I hope everything works out for you, to be honest. I've lost weight living here. So
yeah, that's right. You were telling me
keep doing what I'm doing.
So, well, because you've been hauling a bunch of stuff up and down the stairs and with all the moving and everything. So yeah, you're going to drop. I used to work for.
We walk to the grocery store now because it's not far.
Do you really?
Yep. Come back with a little.
That's great.
And we're changing our budget. So,
well, yeah, because you got all this flexible money now.
No, not that. It's just we want to because we're limited on space for storage for pantry wise and and the fridge and all that. We want to try, and I know we're running out of time, but I want to try as a family. We are going to try to do a daily budget. So we'll only get what we're going to cook that day. And then, so you're
going to make a habit out of going to the grocery store every single day.
Yeah. And buy fresh vegetables for just that portion of dinner, fresh, whatever we decide to do, we're going to get it right there and then. So no freezing the meat or anything else like that.
I like that.
So
I like that a lot.
Today, my wife just went and walked to the grocery store and she got stuff for stew.
I like that. I think that's I mean, for one, it gives you quality time with your family. Another thing is it drastically increases your exercise because you're constantly planning to go to the store to get the items, which is if it's in walking distance. 1,000 steps isn't all that much, but if you add up 1,000 steps over 30 days, that's 30,000 extra steps that you took. I think that's huge.
Another thing too, I think too, is our palate would change because we're eating fresh fruit, not canned goods, not frozen stuff like that. So maybe we'll get more nutrients out of the food.
You definitely, there's very few canned foods that I actually like, just because they're so loaded with salts and preservatives, and the standard American diet, is loaded with preservatives. And I'm all for, some salts and some electrolytes, but it's like with anything, you do it in moderation. Whereas if you're eating the standard American diet, along with, say, the food pyramid, well, yeah, throwing excess salt in there is going to mess you up because it's loaded with preservatives as it is, and you're just piling more and more and more on. Whereas, say, with the method I'm using right now with carnivore, the only salt that I'm getting is what may have been in the meat, and then whatever I add on top. And you actually have to be very liberal with the salt on carnivore because you're not getting enough of it. So it's like it's a drastic shift. But I love your plan, and I think that seeking that out, one, just to spend time with your family, but two, also to get your steps in and make you plan out your day and make you think deeper about the things that you're doing in your life is fantastic.
And I'm probably going to do push-ups.
Oh, you're going to do some freaking push. Hey, look at this. Look at that. That's one of the other side effects about the carnivore diet. In the gym, I should have mentioned this. I got to throw this out there real quick. Sorry. In the gym, when I'm lifting, like, I can't lift nearly as much, but the pump is intense. Like the physical pump of, like, by the time I'm getting to 10, like on my biceps or whatever, I'm just like, ugh! It's changed the intensity of the pump.
It's amazing. Look like an Avenger.
Yeah. Oh, that's the. Oh. And you better watch out, Chris Hemsworth. Here I come. I'm going to make Chris Hemsworth do some freaking push-ups.
Until next time, ladies and gentlemen. Talk to y'all later.